right, if you got something going on in your life you want to share with The Bert Show, hit us up at thebertshow.com. And in this email here, she usually hosts her family for Thanksgiving and Christmas at her house, but Thanksgiving was a train wreck, so she's like, you know what? I'm going out of town for Christmas. She hasn't told her family, and she's now just kind of started feeling a little guilty about it. So is she being the a-hole or not?
Dear Bert Show, love you guys. Listen all the time, live and on Spotify. I need to know, am I the a-hole? I usually host for Thanksgiving and usually have the typical crew. My mom and dad, who have been divorced for decades, my sister and her husband, and my kids. Ever since my mom got a new boyfriend, my dad has been a bit distant. He always throws game at my mom jokingly, but not really. My mom doesn't help. She is usually the first to leave as she brags about having to go to her boyfriend's house. My dad leaves shortly after that, as opposed to staying late into the night as he used to do. My sister is always a bit flaky on whether or not she's going to show. And if she doesn't show, I usually find out a few hours before. This year for Thanksgiving, on cue, my sister texts a couple of hours before we were set to have dinner that she and her husband will not be at Thanksgiving. My dad made fun of my mom's new boyfriend, jokingly. My mom left without having dessert because she had to go to her boyfriend's house. My dad left a few minutes after her. I found myself alone the night of Thanksgiving and tried to drink and have fun by myself. But it was a bit of a downer. It seemed like no one really wanted to be here, and I certainly did not want to keep them if they didn't want to be. So I decided it's time for a change. I want to have fun and enjoy genuine quality time with family. When I was married, I had a great time with my ex's family, as we all have similar humor and interests. I still keep in touch with my ex-sister-in-law, and my ex-husband and I are on very good terms since we are co-parenting our children together. Fortunately, my boyfriend is very supportive and encourages the healthy relationship I have with my children's father. So this year for Christmas, I am heading out of town and spending Christmas Eve and Christmas Day at my ex-sister-in-law's house with her family, her children, my ex-husband, and my children. I am so looking forward to this. I think we are all going to have a great time, and I'm excited to see my nieces and nephews that I have not seen in years. This also means I am not hosting Christmas morning at my house for my immediate family that I have done for the last 10 years. I'm sure they just all assume that I am hosting. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to give them a heads up, but I'm wondering, am I the a-hole?
Only that you haven't told them yet.
Yeah.
I mean, the rest of it's fine, but here we are now, and as we're doing the show, it's December 12th.
Yeah, a little less than 2 weeks.
Yeah. So would you just assume?
Yeah.
If it's been at somebody's house year after year after year after year?
She's been doing it for a decade.
Yeah.
She's been doing it for 10 years.
Yep.
So you just kind of get into this rhythm, and yeah, you were, I think rightfully so, going to assume that it's at her house. So I don't begrudge you for wanting to do something different this year. It's your holiday too, just as much as it's everybody else's. So go do your thing, girl. But you got to give them a heads up so they can make, alternate plans.
Yeah, you got 2 weeks now. I don't think you should even wait one more day.
No.
Hit everybody up today and let them know we got to come up with something new.
I mean, I totally get the guilt about it, but at the same time, I would say they clearly have alternate plans because they cancel last minute, or they don't show up, or they just bounce to their significant other's house. So, I mean, I don't think she should feel guilty at all. They have plenty of time.
Just tell them.
Yeah, Thanksgiving in my house has been routine for like 15 years. And then 3 years ago, it finally changed for the first time. And the last 3 years, because of that, have been a bit of a mess. And I've learned that communication is like the most important thing. That's been the problem. So, yeah, if I'm you have to communicate this like immediately to try to get everybody on somewhat the same page.
Or don't tell them at all. Just don't be there. So they show up knocking on the door and there's nobody there. How are you going to assume? No.
I mean,
You shouldn't assume.
Yeah, you shouldn't assume. But let's all recognize that everybody plays a role. And just to keep your side of the street clean. If you don't care about that, then don't. If you feel screwed over by them and you want them to get a taste of their own medicine, I don't think that's the reason for the season. I don't think that's what Jesus wants for his birthday. But if that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. And if that's how you want to do it, then do that way. But I think today, send a group text, be like, this is what I'm doing this year with my ex and our kids. And if they try to guilt trip you or make you feel bad, don't.
Does she even need to tell them what her plans are?
No.
Yeah, you don't need. Yeah, I was going to say, if you're going into this conversation, you don't really owe them any kind of explanation at all, except to let them know that you're not hosting this year. So even if they turn around and say, so where are you going? What are you doing? She shouldn't have to say anything.
Well, I mean, if it's your family, yeah. If somebody asked me, I said, I'm not hosting. My first question would be like, is everything okay? Like, what's going on? I mean, that would be my initial question. And then they'd be like, I'm just going to be with my ex-in-laws and our kids. And I'd be like, oh, okay, well, you guys have fun.
Have a good time on that.
The people in my family would only be asking because they trying to follow me wherever I'm going. So you might have to tell them something different.
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched? Well, you can get a lot more of The Bert Show for free on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.